Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to share with you how I identify a trend and how I separate the trending stocks on my watch list. Three things I'm looking for. Right up here, you'll see three moving averages that I'm using. It's the 20 period moving average, the 60, and the 200. You can use the simple moving average. You can use the exponential, whatever you like. Only slight differences, and which I don't think it matters so much. Okay, so let's take a look now, and I'm going to hide this. We don't need that there. So what I do is I open up my trading view charts on three different tabs. Here it is, 1, 2, and 3. Between the three tabs, I have the difference here is the first one, I have the daily chart. And here it is. If you look at this drop-down menu, you'll see right here, the daily, I have the 1 week and the monthly. And I've starred all three of them. Okay, I have starred all three of them so that they all appear on the top. Do you see it? D for the daily, W for the weekly, and M for the monthly. So on the first tab, I used the D, the daily. Okay, so that means each candle represents 1 day of prices. The second tab, I select the weekly, the W, here it is. That means each candle represents 1 week of prices. And the last one is the monthly. That means that each candle represents 1 month of prices. All right, that's where we stand right now. So I begin with the ones on my list already. And obviously the first few are the ones that I think they are in a good trend. And here's what I do. Okay, I begin with the monthly, and I look to make sure that the 20 period moving average is above the 60, and that the 60 is above the 200. Okay, but now here you'll notice that there is no 200 period moving average because this GE Shipping or Great Eastern Shipping, the company has not been listed for this many years. And so therefore, you only see the date, the 20 period and the 60 period moving average. Now I go to the weekly chart, and there you do see the 200 period moving average, the 60 period moving average, and the 200 period moving average. See that? And so that shows that right now here for quite some time it's been sideways. Okay, but that's on the monthly. But it is right now attempting to break through the all-time high right now, but facing resistance. And here is that resistance more clearly. You see the resistance here? Okay. You see that the large wick on the top, that's strong resistance that the stock is facing. And you see the resistance here on the weekly chart, especially during the last 1 week. There's been strong resistance of the prices. But it is still, the 200 period moving average is still acting as a support. See, it's acted as a support here, support there. And here also you can say it's like acting as a support because it's like it's bouncing off of the string in one sense. Okay. All right. So here it is. And then now we go to the daily chart. Okay. And in the daily chart, you'll see that last 1 week of resistance right there at the all-time high. But again, at the 20 period moving average, there seems to be a fairly good support. Okay, so I'm keeping this in my watch list. Now I go back to the monthly, and I'll begin with our next one would be RVNL, Rail Vikas Nigam Limited. Now with this, you will notice that it only has the 20 period moving average. Okay, because the company has not been listed for that long on the stock market. Okay, now we look at the weekly though, you'll see all the 20, 60, and the 200 period moving average in that pattern, the 20 on top, 60 below that, and the 200 below that. Okay, again, you see the nice uptrend. The highs are higher, the highs are higher and higher. Okay, now like this, there's resistance here, and it came back down. Let's see what happens again. If it if it pushes through the resistance. At least for now, it's holding on well. So for this week also, I'll keep this on my watch list. GE Ship, Great Eastern Shipping continues on the daily chart as well. You see that? Now that 1 week of resistance, again, here it is. All right, but it's pushing that all-time high, and I'm going to wait until, I'm sorry. My. I'm sorry, I got mistaken. So here's the RVNL. So I forgot to bring it down to the RVNL here. There's my mistake. This is where I think I have to be careful. So here you'll see the Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, RVNL, right here again, the 20, the 60, and the 200. Okay. All right, doing well. And then here I need to switch to the next one, RVNL. All right. Okay. All right. Here also, the pattern is good, except that for a few weeks now, it's been sideways. All right. Now that isn't bad completely because it is pushing against the all-time high, which is often quite a strong resistance, but we'll keep observing to see if the 20-period moving average stays above the 60. If it doesn't, then we could take it out of our list for some time. Okay, now I go back to the monthly, and our next one is VBL, Varun Beverages. Varun Beverages also on the monthly. See, it hasn't been listed on the stock market that long, so the history is less, but still the 20 month and the 60 month are in the right pattern, and you'll see that the stock price is above the 20 as well for quite some time. Look at that, it stayed above the 20-month period moving average, which is very good. Okay, now we go to VBL on the weekly chart. Look at that, same thing on the weekly chart. Now on the daily chart, all right, let's see if we continue to observe a trend here. Okay, again, VBL on the daily chart. All right, look what's happening on the last 2 days. All right, it's pushed down. All right, below the 20, and it's getting to. It has touched the 60-period moving. The price has. So I'm kind of wondering what will happen here. Will it continue going down, or will it reverse back up? But for this week, I will leave it on my list, and I'll continue to trade VBL. Okay. All right. Now let's look at the next one, ICICI Bank. Let's see what it looks like. My internet is not so fast, so we have a little bit of delay, but no problem. We're here. Here's the monthly chart. Okay, it's looking good. ICICI Bank. Let's go to the next one here. By the way, those of you who are using TradingView charts, more recently, to move down to the next stock, I usually just press the tab. And here again, all right, you'll see the weekly chart. You see that trend. You see that? And you can also zoom in or zoom out, and you see how long it's been trending like this for quite some time. Okay, quite some time. Where is this? Quite some time it's been trending. And then now we go to ICICI Bank on the daily chart, and let's see what it looks like. Same thing here. All right, we have the 20, 60, and the 200. Now, again, here, it's kind of fighting against the all-time high. So let's see what happens. I'll keep observing this. But for right now, because the pattern is still there, I will keep it on my watch list. Now I go to Titan. All right, Titan Company. And here is the monthly chart. It's looking good on the monthly. And on the weekly chart for Titan, all right, good, all right. Although you see on the weekly chart, it's been kind of up and down. See that? But we do realize that it's up and down primarily because of the all-time high. See, this was fighting against, this was the all-time high. And the next time it went above that all-time high, and then it tested it twice. See there, and there. So you can actually say it tested it 3 times, and then it's pushed beyond that level right there. So this all-time high was right here, okay, and it has pushed its way through the all-time high. All right, I happen to just move that line further up. Now let's look at the daily chart of Titan. Okay, here it is. See, it's pushed above the all-time high. And so for 2 or 3 days, we're facing a little bit of resistance, but it's just coming down to the 20-period moving average. Always remember, this is often the case. A lot of stocks will stay close to the 20, and it will push away, come back closer to the 20, and it will push away, and it looks like it's steady, all right, in this channel pattern going straight up. That's Titan. So I'm keeping that on my watch list. All right. Now, Nifty Bees. This is actually not really a mutual fund. It's like a mutual fund, but it's more of a it's a fund that it's called an exchange traded fund. That's really what it is. It's similar to a mutual fund, except that it is traded on the exchange like a stock, whereas traditional mutual funds are not traded on the exchange like a regular stock. So they call them ETFs, and they mimic the Nifty list of stocks. Okay, see the pattern is good. 20, 60, 200. All right, now let's look at the weekly chart. All right, that's still, the pattern is good. But you see daily, see, weekly, every week, it's like the closing is toward the end, but still you'll see that the highs are higher, and higher. And then again, now it's going sideways. But since this pattern is holding up on the weekly, I'm keeping it on my list. Okay. Now let's look at the daily chart, and you'll see again lots of red, but you'll see that the highs are higher, and higher. So this is one reason why we say don't just look at the color. Okay, don't just look at the color. You need to open up the chart and get a broader view. If you only look at the color, you'll be confused. Okay, you get a broader view like this. Now let's go to the next one, Apollo Tire. On the monthly chart, look what's happening to Apollo Tire. It's pushing through. I'm going to move these support resistance lines. All right, here we are, 20, 60, 200 for Apollo Tire. On the monthly chart, it's looking good. And now on the weekly chart, again, it's looking good on the weekly chart. And then on the daily chart, let's see what happens here. Daily chart also looks good for Apollo Tire. Now I go to PFC. All right, Power Finance Corporation. Again, this stock on the monthly chart has been sideways for some time, and it's kind of fighting with this all-time high. See that? This is way back, but still, it's continuing to fight that. It's right now attempting to break through much further than last time. See that? Last time it just came through, never really broke through it. But this time it broke through the all-time high, but facing resistance. See that? Okay, so again, no 200-period moving average for the monthly, because that's like 15 or 16 years, and PFC has not been listed for that long. All right, now on the weekly chart, here it is, still looking good. All right, it was sideways for some time, but it's breaking through. And let's see what happens as this gets retested. All right, PFC on the daily chart. All right, here we are on the daily chart. See, it's breaking through. Look at that. It's quite, like almost a textbook approach. See, it's broke through and testing the all-time high again, and broke through, went a little further and testing it again. Now let's see what happens. Now, not only is it testing the all-time high, but it's also near the 20. Let's see if the 20 acts as a support. Okay, often this all-time high will be broken through, and if the all-time high is acting as a support, it could continue going up. But the 20-period moving average can also act as a support. Various factors are there. Now we'll go look at our Star Cement, okay? Also has not been listed that long. It's been sideways, attempting to break through. Look at that, attempting to break through the all-time high. But since the pattern is weekly there, somewhat weak, not weekly, somewhat weak, but it's there. And I'm holding on right there. I'm keeping it on my watch list. Now, again, on the weekly chart, it's trying to break through the all-time high. It's coming close. Look at Star Cement again on the daily chart. All right, getting near the all-time high. By the way, you can pull, click and pull down. Here we are. Okay, and let me go to the next one. Mark Sands. I'm going through my whole list, so this might be a bit laborious for you, but you'll see what I'm doing. Okay, Mark Sands. I go to the next one. Mark Sands. Do I have my pattern? Yes, I have my pattern. Now on the daily, and do I have my pattern? Yes, I do. Now I'll just speed it up a little bit more for the next few that are on my list, all the way down to where you see Nifty on my list. There it is. Sideways, but it's there for right now. And because of this thrust up here, I'm holding on to it in my, and then it's there for the weekly. So I'll keep it on my list. Okay, here it is. And REC Limited, look at that on the daily as well. So I'm keeping it there. What did I see here? What was that? Yeah, I'll get rid of this support resistance line. And yeah. All right, Rama Steel, again, right there, hasn't lasted enough. This company has not been listed enough to have the 200-period moving average. And Rama Steel for the weekly, that was on the monthly, it wasn't long enough. Weekly, it's there, and the pattern is there as well. Now on the daily chart for Rama Steel, here it is on the daily chart. Yeah, looking good, okay? From there, I go to Indian Hotels. By the way, this is what I do every single week. I go through one by one by one. Indian Hotels, looking good. I don't need this, and I don't need this support resistance line. Okay, Indian Hotels on the monthly, it's looking good. Indian Hotels on the weekly, that's what it looks. Let's see what it looks like on the weekly. It looks good. You see it there. And then on the daily, let's look at Indian Hotels on the daily chart. It's still looking good. All right. Now we'll go to the next one on the monthly. Tata Motors. All right. How does it look? Yep. Good. Fairly good. Okay. The 20 and the 60 is kind of there, too close. But let's see what the weekly looks like for Tata Motors. All right. Weekly is good. All right. And now not so, when it's sideways like this, I'm not so bullish on this, but I'm curious to see what happens with the all-time high. Since I'm watching the same ones each week, I can kind of observe its movements, and I'm only doing about 10 to 15 on this trending list. See, here it is. Here we go. That's also looking good, Tata Motors. And then ITC is another one, which is a tobacco company, but it's becoming it's starting to reframe itself toward a company that is, so the pattern is good. A company that is more of a consumer goods, fast-moving consumer goods company as well. And let's see how that company does to keep its existence. As a tobacco company, it may not have much of an existence, so it's kind of reinventing itself. All right, now I go to FACT, okay, fertilizer company. All right, it's good, okay, but it stayed sideways on the monthly chart for a long time. Look at that, years and years, and it finally broke out. All right, usually when after a long time of consolidation, the breakouts are usually pretty strong. Let's see what happens if this trend continues for FACT. So let's look at the weekly chart for FACT. All right, looking good. And I want to see if this continues. But see the resistance here? Okay, and we'll see that resistance more clearly on the daily chart of FACT. It should be more clear. Here it is. See, here is that resistance. Okay, here's the red, here's more red, and it's that resistance. And we'll be able to see if it's strong enough to continue. And then finally, I go to the Nifty. Now, this Nifty right here is the Nifty 50 index. So the reason I have it here, of course, I look at the index to see what's the overall movement and the trend, but this often I use it as a placeholder. In other words, it's almost like a like a bookmark. And so that I know that everything above this, everything is above this are companies that are in my list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about 15. Okay, there's about 15. And so Nifty on the monthly and on the weekly and on the daily, what does it look like? Okay, it's looking good. Okay, so it doesn't matter. For Nifty, it really doesn't matter. It's just there for me to observe the markets. And also, secondly, it's there as a placeholder for me. Okay, so this is how I look at my watch list each week to confirm if it's trending. Now, below that are stocks that I find that don't seem to be in the right pattern. What does that mean? And how do stocks that are not in the right pattern look? Well, this one here, NFL, I didn't have it on my list. Let's see why not. Okay, that was the monthly. And here is the weekly. Let's see why I didn't have it on my chart. Okay, wow. Okay, on the weekly. And then what about the daily? NFL, maybe should it belong on my list? Let's see. And we'll see if that belongs on my list or not. Now, this looks like a lot of sideways movement here. And here it is. See, the 20 is above the 20 is below the 60. And that must have been the reason why I kept it out. Okay. All right. So everything below my Nifty index are stocks that are not in my list. I'm back to the monthly chart. Look at that. See, I want 20, 60, 200. Instead, here I have 2,260, not in the right pattern that I want. Indian Bank had been doing good on the short term, but and on the long term, but I think on the weekly. See, this is good here, but on the, let's see what happens. Indian Bank on the weekly. Come on. Let's get this moving in the right direction. It's tough when the internet connection is a bit slow, especially when I'm doing videos. But whenever I'm reviewing these stocks also, it makes it sometimes annoying. But here is Indian Bank. There we go. Let's see on the daily chart. The weekly, it was looking good on the daily chart. Let's see what it looks like. All right, see, again. So I'm not going to go through all the negatives here, but these are all, see, you'll see a whole bunch of stocks. I don't know how many, but maybe 60, 70, 100 stocks on my list, quite long. And these are all nice, good companies on the market, but they're just not trending. That's all it is. They're just not trending right now. And they're all stocks that I don't mind trading, but they're not on the pattern that I'm looking for. All right. All right. I hope this helps you to see how I select stocks for my watch list, stocks that are trending for my watch list. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave your questions below, and I'd be glad to help you out. And later on, I'll do a video of how I enter the stocks as well. All right. Thank you. Have a great day.